Hey everybody, Marcus Viegas here with Scott Coker, the head of Bellator MMA, here at a fan day in San Diego. Scott, I know it's been a few months since you took over Bellator. How's the ride been so far for you?
Boy, it's been a really fast train ride. And I was just telling somebody else earlier, when we built Strikeforce, it was kind of like we built as we went. And we only had 4 fighters under contract when we first started Strikeforce. And then we built, and eventually we had Fedor and all the Nick Diaz and Gina and everybody. But in the very beginning, we had 4 fighters. We had Frank Shamrock, Kung Lee, Gilbert Melendez, and Josh Thompson. And so we kind of built it as we went, and then the rest is history. This one, this opportunity, I felt like I signed on to the company, and then 2 days later, I was jumping on a train going 800 miles an hour because it was like, oh, by the way, we have a fight in 3 days, or no, I'm sorry, like in 3 weeks. And it was a matter of, hey, I'm Scott, I'm the new guy, I know how to do this, I've done this before, but, we have a fight in 3 weeks, so let's all get busy and get to work and make this a success. But it was a much different animal. This one feels like we're still going 500 miles an hour. The weekly shows, I was telling somebody this, I said, we did more shows in this amount of time with Bellator. It's only been 4 months I've been here than the first 2 years of Strikeforce put together. So that's a crazy schedule.
Looking at it, when you were coming in, did you at all get overwhelmed or maybe have like second thoughts like, this is just too much?
No, you know what? Honestly, it was a lot of adjustment, right? And I was adjusting and we're moving, but I feel like I know how to throw fights and promote fights and coordinate everything and make sure things are moving. We have a great staff. Anybody that can do fights, 12, 14 weeks in a row, it's a pretty amazing staff. But for me, it was all that experience I had with K1, all that experience I had with Strikeforce, all the experience I had, working with the UFC and understanding the martial arts landscape. It really helped me navigate, through the last 4 weeks of entering into this business.
Now, when you came in, what were some of the things that you looked at and you said, no, this got to go? And what are some of the things that you said, you know what, we have to incorporate this?
Well, it's no mystery about the tournament format that I think there's a time and place to do tournaments, but you better have, 8 of the super badass ass. That's right. Like you would have the best fighters. You put them in an 8-man tournament, or you do a 4-man tournament maybe, but you would have the right athletes, and the timing has to be right. And I don't think you just do tournaments after tournaments after tournaments after tournaments, because at that point it's just like a volume, but you're not putting on fights that the fans want to see. You're not putting on fights that are going to move the television needle, or that the media is going to care about, or that are relevant in the MMA space. And that's what we want to do. We want to be promoters that put on relevant fights that drive the television needle, drive the media to come support the fights, and to put butts in seats, and that's really our goal.
From when you started to where you want to get, if you were to gauge it with a percentage, are you 50% there? Are you 40% there?
Are you talking about for this new opportunity?
Yeah. Well, for Bellator, with the changes you want to do, like how far along are you to where you feel you want to take it to?
I mean, think about it. I've only been here 4 months, and the first month was just like, hi, I'm Scott. What's your name? That's like the first 30, 45 days. I think we've done some great things, though, in 4 months, and I think you're starting to see a little shift, signing Melvin, bringing Paul Daly back, having the female division, getting out of the tournaments, going to a super fight format. So we're making some moves, but give me 18 months. We're going to put great fights along the way, but we're going to build some great fighters from the ground up, just like we did with our last group. And what I mean by that is, look at Daniel Cormier came from the from the ground up. Tyron Woodley, Luke Rockhold. I mean, that's just to name a few. And that's we're going to build these fighters, and then when the free agency market hits, we're going to probably make a bid for some of the top athletes, and then we're going to have a robust roster, and then that's when I'll feel really confident about, hey, this is going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, we got some great championship fights. We're going to fights that fans want to see, like I talked about, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
How close were you to signing Gina, and was there a lot of talks going on with her?
You know what? We had one conversation with her management, and it was very clear to me that she wanted to fight at 135 to fight Ronda, and we're not going to have a 135 division. So you know what? I mean, I consider her a friend, and I've known her for a long time. I mean, the first time I met Gina, I was walking into a Muay Thai gym in Vegas, and I think she was like 16 or 17 years old. Then she fought on the undercards of all the K1s for us, and she fought the first female MMA fight in the state of California, fighting Elena Maxwell in 2006. But that was 8 years ago, and she's had a tremendous movie career. She's doing fantastic, and I wish her well.
You're starting to sign a lot of talent with this event you're putting on the 15th. In the main event, we're seeing Tito fight Stephan Bonnar. Stephan coming with a little bit of heat, though, because of what happened with this drug test. I guess, how do you deal with a situation like that where fans are kind of asking, like, why is he fighting? He didn't serve a suspension. He got busted for the drug test.
Right. I don't know all the details of the suspension, but I'm
fans are saying he should have been suspended because it happened in Brazil. It can't really enforce him coming over here.
I'm not sure, but we're bound by the California State Athletic Commission. They gave some rules and guidelines to abide by, and we tested them, and the results are being sent to the state. And you know what? People make mistakes, and I think that Stephan's no different, and he made a judgment error, and. To me, it's like we're going to give it a second chance, and I have no problem with that. Saying that, and when I think about the history of Stephan and Tito, that's a fight that should have happened years ago, right? And so you know what? I'll say this: people say, "Oh, it was like pro wrestling. They did this thing in the cage," but honestly, that was all real. There was some real emotion in there. I was in the middle of it, and all I remember was like spit flying by my head. I mean, I'm just like trying to break these guys up. But on November 15th, that cage door is going to shut. And all the antics and all the talk and all this goes out the window because they're going to have to fight. And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
On a closing note, you're saying, it's been a hell of a 4 months for you. And you mentioned, the first 30 days was, hi, I'm Scott. Was that awkward at all? Like, tell me about that phase, getting to know everybody.
Because they're a team that already has worked together. I'm the new guy, right? Yeah. So, and it was like...
What was like your mindset then, like coming into that?
Well, the first thing I walked in, I was like, what do all you guys do? It's like an army of people. They have these palatial offices in Orange County. And I'm like, what do all you guys do? And why are you in such a big building, But in seriousness, they got a great crew. And they put on fights every week for 12 weeks straight. That's a burnout. That's a crazy schedule, But they're able to do it, and that's something that I really respect from them. But really, it was like the first month was like trying to learn everybody's name. Can we all wear name tags or something? Because my memory's going. I can't remember everybody's name, But I just, was trying to learn what does everybody do? How does this all operation work together? And how do you guys work with Viacom? How do you work with Spike TV? Who does what? And that was about a 45-day or 2-month process, And we're doing fights in between and planning other fights, in between that. So it was just like, jump on board. Here we go. Yeah. Lift off.
Any big signings in the next few weeks or months?
You know what? We will, but that's top secret. I can't tell you.
Come on, I got stage 4 clearance. Come on, Scott.
You know what? I believe it, but I cannot say.
Looking at the headquarters, are you going to move operation to San Jose, or are you keeping it in Newport Beach?
That's undecided right now. Yeah. So we'll decide that probably sometime in December or at the end of November. But it's been an interesting time commuting back and forth. But I think that the Bay Area is something that we have to have some type of presence because, I promoted there for 30 years. 30 years this March and 15 will be my 30th year promoting in the Bay Area. And we have a tremendous amount of fans, and I think I helped build the fan base there to appreciate martial arts fights. And so why wouldn't we go back there? Whether we'll have an office there or what kind of office, that hasn't been determined.
Mellow Force, pretty much.
Spike Force.
Spike Force. Scott, thank you very much. Certainly appreciate it. Here is Scott Coker, the head of Bellator MMA, Marcos Vegas here in San Diego.